We've been feeling like there's some spiritual feelings in the house, like specifically more rooms, more than others.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've done a lot of research, so it's there's a doctor that had the place built. Mr. Gibbs, he's built about 12 places in around Elora, Fergus, and Dr. Robertson had this built in 1891. He did his practice in the place. And then after that, they turned the house into a convent. The church was a couple of doors down. And then they had an overflow of kids from the old school. So the convent, the nuns taught in the back room.
Okay. We are here in Elora, Ontario today, and we are visiting this beautiful B&B, and it's quite something. And today is a little bit different because we're also teaching a workshop for new psychic investigators, and I can't wait for you to hear some of the things that they're picking up here today. And we've got 5 of them with us. One's just not in the room just yet. But yeah, we're excited to move through this. The owners have mentioned that they've had some experiences going on here that they'd like to learn a little bit more about. And I'll tell you this, and I think all of you will agree that as soon as you walk into this place, it is just rich and full of information. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's learn a little bit more about this place. Let's go.
Okay, so as soon as you hit this spot, my legs feel so heavy. Like I'm an older, larger man who's having a really hard time with my legs. They hurt, they're heavy, and I have a really hard time walking up the stairs. So I don't like that.
Okay, this upstairs, as soon as I walk up, get to that halfway mark that you were talking about, you just get a totally different sense of energy. And you guys pick that up as well, right? It just kind of like hits you like a wall. In that first room that we were in, I immediately picked up on like an older male spirit in the corner. And I think we just talked a minute there off camera. Many of you picked up on him as well. And I just feel like super pulled to this room. I want to check this out. Oh my God, it's like so heavy. Okay, this is like sadness. This is infirmary, like sick, ill. I also feel lonely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Learning
heavy.
that, like the learning of a lady saying, look here, this is what I see here.
Yeah, so I feel like this is his room. Like he's here.
Yeah.
I feel sad though. I feel like he's got a sad energy. Yeah, it actually feels quite, I don't know, almost like slightly destitute, like I've got nobody left, or I've got nothing, like
That type of loneliness.
yeah, that type of loneliness. You're not mic'd, so don't talk, okay? Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. But he's here, and he is thick, boy.
Yes.
You feel that?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we know we've got work to do with him. Okay, let's move on. So this place is so full of antiques. Like, how many have we come across?
Dozens.
Dozens. And every time we bring a piece of furniture into our home, especially something that's an antique, especially something that's been used before, it's so important to check in on how that object feels. Does it need to be cleared of its history? Because all of these pieces hold all of the vibration of everything that they've experienced. People who have owned them, places they've been, things that they've been around. In a place like this, so incredibly beautiful, so full of so many antiques, but every one has its own story. Every piece of furniture has its own unique little signature. And this table in particular, when I walk up here, I feel like this just brings me down. It's
Yes.
got such a sag and energy, and I want to clear it, or I want to remove it from the space. So it's so important that we know that when we're bringing objects in, especially if they're secondhand or used, that we, either have someone help us clear the energy of them, learn to do it ourselves, or even leave it outside for a couple of days before bringing it in. Yeah.
I just really don't like the feeling
Holy
in
cow.
this room.
Wow. Okay, I have a female spirit here. Can you pick up on her?
Yeah, I can definitely pick up her.
All right. She's really strong, actually. She's just as strong as that male.
But again, that sadness,
Yeah,
loneliness.
sadness. It's like she's sitting in that chair looking out that window, and it's like this is like a lookout spot, and I feel like all of the world's sort of passing me by. There are feelings of like infirmary here as well, like not necessarily related to that woman, but like sick people must have been here. Like I feel sick, I feel ill.
Yes.
And I feel low, feels quiet.
Very low, very heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
Now, I think this is the room that has been most active, and I'm actually not surprised because she's quite strong. I feel like there's a connection between her and that man, and I have a sense that, and maybe we can check on that, but I have a sense that he must have had a daughter because she feels like a daughter to him. And I don't know that she passed in this house or that he did, but they are connected to this place. So we can have spirits that stay resident in a space when they feel attached to the location itself. So if this was a really important home to them, if they spent a lot of time here, this type of thing, and they have a vested interest in it, then they might hang around if they haven't made their journey after passing. But we've definitely at least got 2 spirits here now. This room is like freezing. Okay?
Yeah. It's just purely uncomfortable. I can't imagine anyone really feeling comfortable in this space. It definitely needs to be cleared.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, this room, same kind of feeling as the other 2, just sadness, heaviness. And again, like I feel like it needs to be cleared because I worry as a business how they might feel. I mean, their
For sure.
visitors come.
One thing that we're going to want to ask is, I know that she had mentioned that this house was built for a doctor, but I actually feel like there must have been sick people here. Like maybe he treated people out of here, because this whole upstairs floor feels like every room feels exactly the same. It's just, it feels like you walk into this space and you feel like what it feels like to be stuck in a hospital.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Each little
Yeah.
space feels exactly like its own little
Yeah.
gurney.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. And it doesn't feel like warm and homey to me. But what I do know is it has the potential to feel like that. We just need to do some work here.
Yeah, and you
right?
can definitely feel how much the owners love the space and how much love they're putting into the space.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so beautiful. It's so aesthetically pleasing, It's just these layers of history and time and all of these things, everything that's gone on here is still here. And some of the things, are wonderful, and then some of the things are not so wonderful. So we'll do some work and make it feel warm and homey. Yeah. All right, so this kind of interesting thing happened when we first got here today and just did a quick walk around to see the lay of the land. I came down the stairs twice and had a big knock on the wall, and I tried to recreate it to see, is it a spot on the stairs that makes a big knocking sound. But of course I couldn't recreate it, so the knock sort of sounded like that, but it was on that wall that opposite wall there. And usually when you have a knocking, it's a spirit wanting to make contact, and oftentimes that contact is to say, I don't really want you here. So that was sort of my experience. Interestingly enough, when we came downstairs and we're talking about it, the owner of the location indicated to us that they've had knocking going on here. So we experienced it too.
Okay, so there's a big change in energy here from the front space upstairs, and even the front room. It feels heavy, slow moving energy, sadness, like an infirmary. And then you come in here and there's still, like, a lot of the pieces have a lot of energy attached to them, but the atmosphere itself is actually a lot more lighter and moves a little bit nicer. There's a little bit more cohesiveness here, even like as if there is a wall here. And then as we continue through the space, looking at, you know, the kitchen, this room, they all tend to feel a little bit more neutral, that especially compared to the front and upstairs. All right, we're gonna go check this room out. You gonna come with me?
Yeah.
Oh, was this all here before?
What? Okay. This wasn't here when we were.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, wow, because this room feels like markedly different than everywhere else.
Yeah, it's got great energy.
Way better energy. This
Yeah.
is pretty good.
It doesn't even feel like we're in the same building.
It doesn't. Wow. Holy goodness. This is so different. So that's really cool because it's I mean, we have pockets of energy within the same location.
Mm-hmm.
That's true for everywhere. But here's a really obvious demonstration of that. This feels so much different than everywhere else. I feel like I'm in a totally different space, just like you said, Dawn.
I'd love to be able to increase the flow of energy, this type of feeling, through the rest of this. I really want to increase the flow.
Yeah, because there's like a broken flow of energy happening here, right? Like each room feels like its own, I mean, except for the upstairs, the entire upstairs feels exactly the same room to room. But all the rest of these lower spaces, it's like compartmentalized energy here, here, and then here. Yeah, and so, yeah, bringing a better flow in, getting that energy pathway a little more open and a little more clear would be helpful.
Yeah, this room feels great though.
Yeah. Okay. It's another dark basement. Oh dear. Okay, watch your head there.
Okay. There's something so thrilling about coming into a basement though. Although,
Yeah. Lights. Okay, so earlier today, one of the students, Cindy, in the investigations workshop, picked up a pretty low vibration energy right in this space that we're sort of standing in right now. When I came down here, I didn't have any sense of it, but I always say that, well, one thing is that energy moves. Okay, so it may not have been here when we were here. The other thing is that I always say, like, people pick up on what they're supposed to pick up on. You know, when I partner with someone, they might pick up on the same things that I pick up on, or we might pick up on totally different things. And you and I have experienced both of those realities. And so, you know, she picked up on something and did some work down here. It didn't feel like it was like a ghost or a spirit person, just a sort of blob of low but non-beneficial energy that was just down here. And so it actually feels pretty light to me now. It feels pretty good in this spot. So she must have done a good job.
yeah, she did.
Feels pretty good. Yeah. All right, the next step in our process is to help these spirit people that are here, who don't need to be here anymore. They're invested in this space for some reason or another. My sense actually is that this is the doctor that lived here, that this house was built for, and who I assume to be a daughter that belonged to him. They don't need to be here anymore. They aren't benefiting the space. How would you describe the energy of the man that we're going to start with?
Well, definitely there's a lot more sadness now. As you mentioned, downstairs there's a little bit more anxiety now that they're aware that we are aware of them. At first, I thought he was going to be, you know, his first amount of energy when we first interacted with him was very neutral, not like, it was just, he was just here. But now I sense a little bit more
Yeah.
fear,
A little bit of fear.
sadness. Yeah.
He doesn't know what's happening now.
Yeah.
So we're going to help him along. And I just still feel like he's gathered here. So
I might go over on that side.
yeah, wherever you feel most appropriate. This is actually really emotional. I'm tuning into his own emotion right now, so it feels quite sad. But there are better things for him to come, and so we're just going to help him do that. This doesn't, you know, this never looks like much on camera. You can't see what we're doing, but we are doing quite a lot of work. And he's just asking us what's going to happen here.
For such a large, caring, strong man, his energy is really almost shrunk, but
Small.
fear, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just letting him know the wonderful things to come for him in his soul's journey when he disconnects from this space. Everything here is going to be okay. Everything's always all right. And she's going to come with him, so he's wondering about this other woman, but she's coming. We're going to help her next. That feels good. So, you know, his energy's gonna, the feeling, the remnants of his energy, they're gonna be in this room a little bit, and we'll clear that further. But that was not too bad.
Did you pick up on anyone on the other side greeting him?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a woman there.
Yeah.
Maybe a partner or
Oh,
spouse
that's
for
what I was
him.
wondering.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it seemed like they had been apart for so long, but I guess that
yeah.
makes sense. They have been. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, she definitely was there. That was really helpful. It's almost like he'd forgotten, I mean, not forgotten about her, but when they're so connected to something here in the form world for so long, they sort of lose contact and connection with their loving connections on the other side. They no longer think about them in the same way. So it was almost like, you? It was like, you know, it'd been so long, but yeah, she was definitely a part of that. So let's move on straight away to this other woman. Off we go. Oh, holy cow. All right, so she knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of a different energy than him, though. She's a little more reluctant.
I know, she's going to be a little bit more.
She might be a little bit of a challenge, so let's have a deep conversation here. She's had a lot of wrong done to her, feels like.
She's very distrusting.
Very distrusting, that's a good word.
I find she really pushes.
No one's here for her now. She needs to know that. Just move on. Just move on. This is her dad. This was definitely her dad. I'm just talking to her about her dad, her parents, waiting for her. I can see two hands extending to her, and I'm just encouraging her. Can you feel that, Dawn?
I can. I feel like she's also worried about what's going to happen here when she leaves, though.
Yeah. So we just have to reassure her.
Yeah, I feel like she feels like she's a steward to protect from anything else going wrong or anything else bad happening.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen
No.
here. That feels better. So just visually for me, she just sort of like stood up from this chair, almost sort of like resigning to what's happening here, and is sort of like, all right then, and sort of puts her hands up, and I just see her sort of like walking up steps, moving out of this space. Good. What about you?
I definitely know she's gone, but I'm thinking the chair is still.
Yeah, I want to get rid of that chair.
Yeah, I want to get
So I
rid.
said, just like him, that front sitting area just holds his vibration. It's
Yeah.
like I mean, we may be able to clear it, but maybe just switch it up.
Yeah.
That chair, I think it's just time to go, and we can let them know that. I also need to let them know, because I also feel like if they think about these spirit people much, like the woman or the man, we can also pull a tether back to them. So it's important that when we release a spirit from the space, we don't continuously think about them, because we're creating a draw, or we can create a draw sometimes, especially when they're still in their process of assimilating and transitioning. So I'm just let them know to not think about them too much. Just move on from here onward, like fresh slate.
Yeah. And I almost feel if that chair can be removed, that will just help cut that tie.
Cut the tie, yeah. And I actually saw it just like that, just this cutting of a cord. So that will be super. We'll let them know. Okay, right on.
All right.
Okay. Okay, you've all done like amazingly well today in the psychic investigating workshop. I love doing follow-ups when we are sort of at the tail end of our class, because what you're going to find is that we have all picked up on very similar or identical things, which is so like substantiating to what you experience. It shows you that, that might have been really subtle how I picked that up. Or of course, this is non-form information that other people can't see. Other people usually can't tune into, not ordinary folks. So when we get to share the table afterward, it shows you how great you are at what you do, because things that other people can't see, can't feel, you can't, but so do other people who are gifted just like you. And so it's so important for us to share our experiences with each other. Some highlights.
My strongest highlight that I felt upstairs was that young woman upstairs once again, and to me that's the strongest connection, the feeling of like a yearning, like where she was almost like wanting to make herself known, like as she was looking out that window, this is what I see, like she wants me to see what she's seeing type thing. That was kind of the strongest sensation of the yearning I felt for her, like that, okay, this is like, I'm here, notice me type thing.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I picked up on when we first came into the house was in the lounge area, was the gentleman that to me was sat in the corner. He was so present in the room, watching everything that was going on. Very well dressed gentleman, and you could tell that he had superiority over the house and the household. So that was one of the first things that I picked up on when we came in. The other thing that when we went up into one of the bedrooms was a young woman, very attractive woman that was up in a bedroom up there, and her presence was definitely there'd been some drama up there, and it wasn't an easy place for her to be, and yet it seemed to be a safe place for her to be. So it was interesting to find that out.
Well, immediately when we came in, I noticed the gentleman that everyone knew, got the same feeling, the well-dressed, well-respected head of the household, definitely. And then the other highlight was in the basement, finding that incarnate energy, not a spirit person, but sort of a greenish blob is how I saw it, and being able to help that move along is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Carol, we discovered a lot of interesting things in this beautiful B&B of yours. Two of the biggest things we were able to take care of for you today were those two spirits that were here, connected to this home. Not connected to you, but connected to this home. For both Don and I, right, Don? We felt like this was the original doctor in this house, and who I also felt was a daughter to him. And so we were able to help them move along in their soul journey. There are a couple of things that, follow-up items that we need to talk to you about. One is a chair. So Donna, how about I give that to you?
Sure. So the green chair upstairs, the spirit that we actually picked up on, the daughter-like energy, That chair still has, it's like a memory of her now. And as Marianne had mentioned upstairs, was we don't want to continually think about who was here, because we could actually draw them back. And we feel that if we can remove that chair, then it's just closure.
Okay.
And she is passed, she's gone, and there's no coming back.
Right.
So we would recommend actually getting rid of the chair.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, that's something for you to consider. The other thing that we want to bring to your attention is just it's general energy upstairs. The imprints of the things that have gone on in this place, including sick people coming here and feeling like safe when they would arrive because someone's going to look after them, help them out. That imprint is still like very alive here. And so what our suggestion to do is to do just a general energy clearing of this space. And we're happy to come back and do that for you. But it's something that needs to be done. And we're sure that once that's done, the entirety of this place is going to feel so much different. And a couple of other recommendations are, when you have the opportunity, when it gets a little bit warmer, open up all those windows. I don't even know if sometimes old windows don't open. So can you open the windows upstairs?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So open up all of those windows, play some real lovely music, real happy stuff, just to introduce a brand new signature, a brand new vibration into the space, one that's yours, one that's hopeful, one that feels welcoming and positive. That's sort of the energy that you want to usher into this space. And of course, we're here to help you if you need any assistance in that regard going forward.
Perfect.
And in the meantime, before we come back, another thing you could do is just make sure that a lot of the closet doors or a lot of the doors that you keep closed on a regular basis, open them up, let the light in. That'll help with the energy flow as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I guess a big part of it is just feeling the air, on the weight of the air, like feeling a little lighter now as opposed to all the time before. It was a good feeling, but it was just a heavier feeling. And now it just feels like an even better feeling and lighter. So I guess that's how I feel in a difference for sure. So yeah, appreciate hearing everything and when you're hearing things, you get the same feelings, like you've felt something similar, and so it's nice to have that validation to know that it's okay. Well, it's not just me.